All right. Thank you everyone for attending. My name is Yao Ya. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Hmong Chamber of Commerce, and I welcome you all on this great afternoon. And today we will be having our Minnesota Hmong Chamber Commerce Connections. And we do this monthly. We try to do this monthly to connect with our business members and also our non-members as well. If you are not a member, please consider joining. Our membership starts at $100 and it's very reasonable, and we try to make it reasonable and easy for you to join us. And we do these connections to connect you on what's going on free training lessons that we have. And this is made possible by our presenting sponsor, Manic, and they will be introduced here in a bit here. But I just wanted to really open up this connections. It's a very stressful time right now. We're just weeks away from elections and who knows what's going to happen. But I'm very, very optimistic that we will power through. I think in light of everything that has happened, we have really gone through and made strides. And we are tougher than we think we are. So with further ado, I'd love to introduce our presenting sponsor, Manic, President Yi Ku. Oh, I'm gonna unmute you.
All right, sorry about that. Can you guys hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. I'm glad to see all of you again this month. Today we are in for a special treat. And but before we start that, I just wanted everyone to kind of just introduce themselves, your name, your business, and quick one-liner about what you do. So if we want to get started, let's start off with Kayla Yang Best. I don't know if Yao, you might need to unmute all the participants or whatnot. Yeah, you may have to unmute them. Yeah.
Okay, I think I unmuted myself too. Hi, Yao. Good to
Kayla.
see your face again. Hi, Yiku. Thank you for hosting us, both of you. I'm Kayla Yang Best, and I'm with a small grocery store called Seasoned Specialty Foods. And our goal is not just to be a grocery store, but we are a space where we help local CPG businesses in food. Many of them are from Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities who are trying to break into the consumer packaged goods. That's what CPG stands for, in food. So things that you find in your grocery store, packaged, ready for customers to buy, that are in most of the grocery stores that are mainstream. I mean, they're a little different if you go to an ethnic Asian grocery store, but you don't see a lot of Black, Indigenous, and people of color foods in those stores that's ready to buy. And so our goal is to make sure that there is a market access for our people who are interested in entering this market. We've been around about 3 years.
Thank you for sharing. Nice to meet you, Kayla.
Meet you too.
All right, next person, Johnny Zhang. Okay, looks like Johnny might have stepped away. Let's move on to Marta Matos, if I may pronounce that correctly.
And then Marta was able to go ahead and comment in our chat for us, since she's not able to talk. But Marta is from Portugal, and she's 24 years old, and she's a psychologist with an interest in marketing and branding. So nice to meet you, Marta.
All right, let's go back to Johnny, since he's back on. Johnny, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey everyone, my name is Johnny. I don't have my video on right now, but I'm actually with Manic. I'm the marketing director at Manic. I specifically focus on digital strategy, anything from web to SEO and then paid advertisement. So excited to meet you all.
All right, thank you, Johnny. Next person, let's go to Soar.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you both for hosting. Like Yi said, my name is Soar. I'm a relationship manager with Merrill Lynch Wealth Management. We specialize in portfolio management and financial planning, and we like helping our clients make smart financial decisions. Nice to be with you all.
Thank you, Soar. And how about Kenny?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kenny Yang. I actually work with Kayla at Seasoned Specialty Foods, and I'm in operations.
Thank you, Kenny. And what about Bangalore?
Oh, hey guys, how's it going? This is Bangalore. Sorry about the late arrival there. I was in another meeting. I kind of just popped out of there and say, hey, I'm going to join the Hmong Chamber. But
Thanks for coming, Vang.
yeah. Well, anyways, yeah, my name is Bangalore with Farm Bureau Financial Service here. I work with, Yao very closely with the Hmong Chamber and stuff like that, and super excited to meet all these new faces and be here. So.
All right. And then I believe the last person here, Mo Cheng.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Mo. We can hear you.
Oh, hi. I'm sorry. I'm at the store at the warehouse, so if there's any noise I can't get through. Hi, everyone. I'm Mo. I'm from Mo's Tropical Bfn. Glad to be here. Hi, Yi.
Hi. Thank you for joining us. All right. So that leads us to our special person for the day. We are in for a treat. I have the honor and privilege of introducing Nikita Vang. And Nikita, a little bit about Nikita. She has a BA in mass communication, and Nikita specializes in branding, social media management, and content creation. She's passionate in digital storytelling and brand curation, and pretty much helping others bring their stories to the light. And I am excited and very humbled that Nikita is also part of our team as our creative director. She also helps us with a lot of the branding side of things. And so without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Nikita and have her talk more and continue on with the presentation.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Yi. I'm very humbled too. What amazing introduction. You made me sound cooler than I am. If anything, Yi is the big guy here for all your needs. So if you guys need anything in automation, tech, or anything, please come to Manic, and Yi is your guy. He is very knowledgeable. So thank you so much, Yi. Thank you so much, Yao, as well. Yeah, we'll go ahead and dive into Branding 101 today. I know everyone's probably in a little different area of your business. Some of you are just starting or just thinking, or some of you are already well in your own business. And today's kind of like you take what you need from it. So some of you will be starting from scratch with branding, and some of you, this will be a refresher. I think right now with COVID and everything, it's a really good time to really think about refreshing your branding and understanding where you want to pivot and go towards in 2021. So that's what I would hope you would have your mindset in today as you are kind of going through this presentation with me. And our setup for today is going to be allowing some Q&A, or I'm going to be engaging with you per slide as well. So please don't be shy to unmute yourself, ask a question, pause me, or anything, okay? All right, and we can go on and start with our slide. So first question that I have for everyone, so that I can kind of gauge where everyone is at with their understanding with branding. You can throw your answers in the chat box, or you can go ahead and just unmute yourself and answer this as well. But what is branding? What do you know about it?
There's no wrong answer.
No wrong answer. Yeah, you can name like one word and that's okay.
Yeah.
And if you guys are really shy, I can go ahead and share too. Yes, Marta, thank you so much. She said it's a way to communicate your product and intentions to people. Yeah, that's a big part of branding as well. Keela says, who you are, the way you tell it, rather than what customers know about you. Yeah, so it's like what you're saying about yourself, right? All right, so I can go ahead and go to the next slide and like dive in a little bit more. For branding, I like to think of it in a very simple way. It's very much everything Marta was saying, everything Kayla was saying, it's those as well. And branding consists of many things, but to be very simply put, I want to think of branding as an emotional connection or feeling that customers have with your company, your business, and your products, right? Because a lot of the times it's not just the product that sells, because if you go to the shelf of stores, like you see so many of the same products from so many businesses, like loaf of bread, soap, shampoo, but it's very much like how people experience your product or your business. And we can go to the next slide as well. So to give you a little bit more like of an exercise to kind of like dive into like what I mean by that. So when you think of this brand, Disney, right? Can you guys shoot out some answers about what feeling or experience comes to mind with this brand?
Happiness.
Happiness, absolutely. Like, I'm pretty sure you don't think of depression when you think of Disney, right? I'm pretty sure you also don't think about anger. So for sure, happiness. Anything else that we can shoot out? Just a couple more answers.
Fun.
Fun. Yeah, I don't think you would turn on Disney Channel and it would just be a silent film, or it would be like really low energy, right? If anything, the scripts are a little bit way high energy. That's almost like unrealistic. Exactly. So yeah, I would like to go to the next slide and go ahead and talk some more about why I put that exercise there. So we have Disney, right? We talked about Disney. What did I include in that slide? All I put there was the logo, and I put the name Disney, but you were able to name me happiness. You were able to name me fun. And if anything, let's dive it a little deeper. You think of youth, right? You think Disney, youthful, childhood memories, experiences for your children or for you if you grew up in the generation of Disney. And then not only that, you think of classics, right? Disney classics, you think of storytelling, you think of all the fairy tales. And then not only that, you have, when you think about Disney Channel, you have stars like Selena Gomez or Raven. They all, once they graduate Disney, they have to shed this image of Disney in order to create a new identity in the like field of the industry, right? And that just shows you how strong the branding of Disney is that they basically embody Disney. And then in order to have a new career, they basically have to shed that image. And that is how strong Disney's branding is. So can I ask you guys too, like why you think branding is important besides what I was just kind of like pointing out? What are the things that you, up until this point, you're like, oh yeah, you know, I came to Branding 101 because I think it's important, but I want to know why you thought it was important. To make people's lives better or easier. Mm-hmm.
Identity.
Identity. Yep, exactly. Yep. Emotional connection. Thank you, Sor. Yep. Kenny.
It's how you connect.
How you connect.
Your way to connect with whoever may be out there that you want to connect to.
Absolutely. And those are all of the best answers. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Yes. So that's exactly what it is. Branding is super important because I only gave you Disney and you were able to name all those things. And you are also able to understand the connection of branding and a name of a business. So here, I disheveled this name, I butchered it, I chose a different font, whatever. And what is the name of this brand? Can anyone shout it out?
It's Nike.
Perfect. Thanks, Johnny. Nike, what can you tell me about Nike? What do you know about Nike? What products do they sell?
Just do it.
Just do it. You already knew the tagline. I didn't even get there yet. Awesome. Just do it. What products do they sell?
Sportswear.
Exactly. What kind of people usually model for their brand? What are the jobs of people? Yeah, athletes. Okay, perfect. So is this also the original font of Nike? And if not, what do you know of the original font of Nike?
Missing the swoosh.
It's missing a swoosh. Yeah, so you don't even see the logo on here.
Is the color wrong? I think it's a different color. I'm not sure.
Definitely yes and no. I know Nike, they have different color palettes that they use, so it's not entirely wrong, but we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So I totally butchered the name. I totally used a different font. I did not include their symbol, and you knew that it was Nike. You knew that they sold like sports apparels, you knew the tagline and everything. And I just want to show that's exactly why branding is so important, because I could throw your name in a random color, in a random font, in a random structured way without your logo, and yet people still know so much about your brand. But literally, I just chose a random font, gave you like 4 disheveled letters, and you were able to tell me everything about a business. And that's exactly what you want your business to be getting to a point. And I don't want people to say, well, I can't do that, because Nike has like billions and billions and billions of dollars to become well known, and that is true. But Nike started out like in a car. Nike also started out like this little check mark. They didn't even think it was going to get big. The official designer didn't even get paid that much for this logo, because who knew it was going to grow up so big. And that's why I want to say like branding is so important, because they are so intentional about their messaging with just do it. So, when you think about Nike, you're like, okay, ambition, okay, like go-getter, like, yes, like I can do anything with this kind of apparel. But honestly, there's so many shoes out there that look just like Nike's shoes. There's so many clothes and athletic wear that looks just like Nike, but I'm more willing to buy Nike because I see a little swoosh. But guarantee you, I bet the manufacturers are almost the same as any other product out there, but yet I still choose Nike because they have a story and they tell their story. And can you tell me, does anyone know like what Nike, like how you perceive Nike as a company? Quality, yeah, absolutely. You know that. And again, I just put the logo up here and you still know that. Nike also really cares about like the community, and they're very intentional about who they have model for them. And when they have certain people model for them, they choose people that are standing for a cause, right? So I think that is also very important to understanding branding as well. And that is why I want to talk about that today too, because you could just look at a logo, but I want one thing for you to like jot down today is just understand the logo isn't it. The logo will not tell your whole entire story, and branding is like so many things and so many components that come together and sew together to present your story to the public. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So who is this brand? I didn't put a name, I didn't put no fonts or anything. Shout it out, anyone?
Coca-Cola. Just kidding. Pepsi.
I was almost concerned for you. Pepsi, yes, Marta, thank you so much. It is Pepsi, and I am so happy that you are able to know that. So I did a little exercise with Nike, right? And I gave you the name. This time I'm giving you the symbol. And I do that so that you understand the power of branding, because it wasn't the power of a logo and it wasn't the power of a name. It was simply the power of a brand. With Pepsi, it's so funny if you really think about it. If you look at this logo, it's a circle. What about circle? What about a red and white, blue random lines that are put together? Where in that does it say this is a carbonated sugary drink that we all love from childhood? Like nothing. The symbol doesn't say any of that. And I bring this upon your attention because I feel like a lot of clients come to us and they're like, okay, yeah, but like I just feel like the symbol doesn't tell everything, and they literally want us to design like a story cloth of their brand, but that's not what a logo is. It's simply a symbol to recognize your brand by, and the rest is the job of branding. So don't worry too much as you're designing logos or revamping your logos. It doesn't have to tell it all. And we can go to the next. And again, at any time, just stop me, ask questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat as well. So with Pepsi, I'll be talking about Pepsi a little bit more today. I think they do a phenomenal job of branding. So they have one of the most like iconic commercials ever. And so if you like were the creator of a Pepsi product, right? I just don't imagine us sitting in a chair at a meeting being like, you know what? I get it. Pop stars. We're gonna have pop stars model Pepsi. We're gonna have these crazy commercials with like Romanian hero, Greek goddesses. You don't think that, but Pepsi always comes out with like iconic commercials, especially for Super Bowl, and that's their power of branding. Like they know that like people are they catch on to the trend of Pepsi, and they always cast the biggest stars. And not only that, the biggest stars are willing to come and shoot for, if you really think about it, a carbonated drink. That's really all that this is. And you don't know why like the off brands in the stores don't have this kind of branding and marketing, but Pepsi does, because they made sure that they angled their story to be this way. And I know we can think of some more brands that have really powerful branding and commercials. Can you name any that have probably implanted like a memory for you from a commercial of a brand? I'm thinking of like a deodorant spray for men. Can you think of one?
X.
Yeah, Axe is one of the most controversial, but then also powerful branding brands out there. They're controversial because they obviously put off the stereotype of like men, like if they spray this, women will go crazy and all that stuff. Honestly, it's not my type of smell, but you know, they positioned themselves in a way that they created a story around their brand, and every commercial they have is like a crazy spin-off of that story. So that's another easy example of understanding what branding does. And we can go to the next slide. So I keep talking about branding. Can anyone name like components of what a brand consists of? And just shoot them out, just could be a word. There's no wrong answer.
Colors.
Colors, yes. Logo, thank you, Soar. Absolutely. Yeah, we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So there really is no right or wrong way of doing this, and everyone has a different approach to branding. And so with Manic, we kind of just try to keep it simple so that it's easy to like cookie cutter, explain it to every single client, and we put it down to 5 brand factors. And we can go to our first brand factor in the next slide. So we have the brand promise, and go ahead and note this down. This is the first brand factor that is important, because these are intangible things that your business can promise to its consumers. And this is not talking about your tangible products or services. This is talking about your experience or your feeling, right? So if we go back to the Nike example, can anyone tell me what is the brand promise of Nike? And remember, it's not about the product. Don't be shy.
Quality athletic gears.
Thank you. Yeah, there's
Success as an athlete or whatever you're doing, just do it. Like, go for it. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, you got it right on the nail. So you perfectly. Nike is, the experience with Nike is they're really selling you like, hey, you know what? You can do anything to go towards your dreams. That's why earlier you guys shared the tagline is just do it. So that's exactly what they're saying. Is like, this is what we promise you. Like this is exactly what you're gonna feel when you have our gear, and this is what we're building you up for. Our gear is here to help you be the best athlete you can be, essentially is what they're doing. So I want you to think today about your own business, whether it's CPG, the grocery store, financial planning, whether you're a psychologist, Marta, or BF Yang. Like, I want you guys to think about what is your brand promise to people, not about your products. Like, don't think about like, what is the product gonna promise? What are you gonna promise as a business and them experiencing your business? And I would like to go into the second brand factor. That is the brand perception. So exactly what you guys named for me earlier too. This is exactly the perception that people have of your brand. How do they view your brand? What do they know about your brand? So for Nike, we already listed earlier that, okay, we know that they care about the community. We know that they have quality products, and we know that they're about just do it. For your business, I want you to understand what you want people to think about your business, and then also be realistic about what you think people know or think about your business. Because honestly, when clients come to us, there's a gap between what you know about your brand and what other people know about their brand. So oftentimes I'm coming onto the website or the social media of a business who's coming to us for to rebrand them, and I'm like, wait, I don't see any information on here. Like, can you tell me more about yourself? And when I just have a one-on-one talk with them, I learn so many things about them. They care about homelessness, or they care about the youth, they care about the community. I don't see any of that on their social media platforms or their website or their marketing or anything. And so that's what I want you guys to think about today too, that like, you might know something about your business and you know your story, but do other people know your story? And how do you bridge the gap between that? We can go ahead and go to the next factor. Brand expectations. And this is something that Johnny just shared earlier too for Nike. This is what consumers can expect from you and your services and your products. So Johnny said that for Nike, you can expect quality. You can expect quality items, and you know that there's affordable items in Nike, and then there's high-end products in Nike, and they do that on purpose because they're trying to get a variety of people in there. So for your businesses, psychologists, financial planning, food, BF Yang, I want you guys to think about like, what is your expectation for your products when people are coming to you? Am I gonna for sure get things fast? Am I gonna get high quality? Am I gonna get a lot of quantity? Am I gonna get the sweetest fruit out there? So let us know what that is for your business. And we can go on to the next one. Brand persona. And I love this one. And I think this one is the one that is missing the most from small businesses, because I feel like you guys tend to think about like, oh, how do we build? And like, you kind of forget how to tie all these things together, right? And I think that's what the persona does, is it is a person. If your brand or business was a person, who would they be? What would they look like? What are they interested in? And this also is totally parallel to who your target audience is, right? So when someone is walking through the doors of your business or coming to your store online, typically, who do they look like, right? And I love to use a brand, Forever 21. Not sure if you guys are all familiar with Forever 21, but Forever 21, you know that it's going to be a teenage girl, probably in her 20s, probably using really trendy language. She probably really likes crop tops. That's something that you kind of really understood about the persona of Forever 21. So I want your business to also have a persona. And you're probably thinking like, I'm financial planning. How's that a personality? I promise you, it can be a personality. It absolutely can. I have clients who are in real estate, and they're also like, they come to me too, and they're like, well, I just sell a house. Everybody sells a house. How am I different? And you are the persona as well. When you're in a business like financial planning, you are the persona. So like, how is your approach to financial planning different? If you are a grocery store, yeah, you have lots of competition. You got Cub Foods, you got Sam's Club, you got a lot of big things. But how do you bring what is it that you bring that's different, and your persona, and how you treat your customers and clients, and how their experience is with you? So we can go ahead and go to the next one. And the final brand factor I want you guys to think about today for your businesses is brand elements. Really think about this. What are the symbols that you feel like could really match your brand. What is the typography, the text, the font? Font is really important. And the color palette. What are the colors that you're really gonna commit to that really define who your brand is? What is the design of your overall feel when I come onto all your social media and everything that goes along with the final thing is style and aesthetics. I want to see it to be very cohesive wherever I go on your marketing materials, that I can understand it's you. And we can go to the next slide. I use Pepsi again because they do a phenomenal job. Right here, I have screenshotted their Instagram, their Facebook, their YouTube, and their website. Every single one, you know, it's like Pepsi right off the bat. No name, no nothing. And you know it's the same brand. Not only that, they look identical to their can, to their product. So you absolutely know that it's Pepsi. And I would hope that more businesses do this, because I see this is a common mistake, is that people choose a logo, they choose a color palette from the designer, they choose a font, and then when they take it off on their own, all of a sudden they chose like yellow and black for the color, right? And then all of a sudden on Facebook, I see like hot pink, and I see like a weird purple, neon green. It's very odd, like it's not matching up. You want to make sure that you have a style guide that you're following, and then making sure that everything you post is intentional and showing your brand. So yeah, we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Essentially, I just want to wrap this all up. Marketing and branding is building a relationship and trust between your business and your targeted customers. And I say targeted customers because you don't want to chase the people who don't want you, who don't need you. You want to be chasing the right people, right? This is like a relationship, you guys. We're not dating people who are not interested in us. We are trying to find the people who really need what we're able to solve for them, who have the pain points that we're able to deliver and solve for them. We can go ahead and go to the next. Marketing and branding go hand in hand. I just want to drill that in before you guys leave me today. Marketing is a system of processes, okay? It needs all parts to run. And if you skip or you miss one piece in marketing and branding, you basically decrease your effectiveness and efficiency. And I'll explain that more in the next slide. At Manic, and this is not just Manic, everyone has their own way of calling this, so whether you're working with Manic or any other agency, marketing, everything that has to do with foundations of a business, they kind of come together in like an ecosystem, right? And at Manic, we kind of just put it more simply put as number one is branding. If you don't have branding, you can think of it, and I'll put it in the next slide too. Branding is essentially the direction. So you can have a car, you can have gas and oil, but if you don't have direction, you're honestly just going to be blindly running. And that's why it's very important for us that when we work with our clients, we start off with branding. So do you have branding? And if you don't, we're going to have to start with branding before we start doing all these other things. We move on to website, market strategy, and then automation, CRM, and then this is just special to Manic. We really just think about, okay, well, you're obviously going to need a lot of support as you grow, and we're more than happy to be that support for you too. So just having that for yourself, it doesn't have to be Manic, but with other people or whichever endeavors you choose to go in, just make sure that you understand that you can't be like, you know, I just want to buy a logo and that's it. And then all of a sudden you're like, but my numbers are not converting. People are not sticking to our brand. No one can remember our brand. Why? It's because you have to have like a total of everything. You need the branding, the storytelling, and you need to translate that on every platform and marketing material that you have. And we can go ahead and go to the next. So yeah, something that Manic does is that we do offer you free branding audits. So you can go ahead and email us. We don't have the email on here, but I think now you can email that out, or you could type it in the chat for them too as well. You could just check out the chat box. You will drop in our email there, and you can go ahead and just let us know like some of the branding audits you would like your social handles, your website, or if just like your ideas, like you're like, I thought of this, what do you think? Yeah. So yeah, I think we're now at the end of our presentation, and you guys can go ahead and ask me any questions you may have.
I have a question. So some of the brands that you shared,
yeah,
they've been around for decades, and I know that time plays into it, but what have you seen or whether that's in play or in literature, of how long it takes before a brand sticks.
Yep. And so like, if we're talking about in terms of like social media, right? I always tell my clients, we take 6 to 1 year to even make the needle move the mark, like just a tiny bit. And it's just honestly, in the very beginning, it's very much, you have to stand your ground even though no one is acknowledging you. That's exactly what happens in the very beginning. And I'm not sure, Kayla, let me know if I'm not getting your question correct, but that is essentially what happens with our clients in the very beginning, is just understanding that it's going to be the brand perception, right? It's really going to be diving from your brand perception of yourself until people recognize you. And it's a lot of trial and error of trying to figure out what will make your product and service stick in the minds of people, because it's going to be in a way that is very special and personalized to your own business. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I think it's, I know there's no science to it, but you know, you know, as we were developing our brand,
Yeah.
you hear it spoken of as a combination of the time, like the actual duration,
Yep.
and then the saturation, like how far, how many people, it reaches. And at some point, those two should help maintain that brand and keep spreading it or keep growing it. It's just that there's no, like I said, no exact science to say, yeah, after 3 years, reaching 10,000 people, your brand should be good, you know? And again, it could be a good brand or a bad brand. It could be branded as bad, you know, if that's terrible, don't use it, right? You know, in other words, perfecting it or improving on it through what period of time, at what level of saturation, to make sure that you have the brand positivity that you want, right? And it probably changes.
That's beautifully put. I'm so happy that you asked that question. Yes, there is no science to it. There's no like, you know what, if you just do this for like 3 months, you'll be set. I wish it was that way, and it isn't. And it's very much, it's just like fame. You kind of like, you get it or you miss it, and you just got to keep trying. And one thing is, I love that you use the word saturation, because when you push yourself so hard at people, at the audience, at the public, it can kill your own buzz, if that makes sense. You do not want to come across as pressuring or desperate or just too much. You have to be able to trial and error. You have to be able to know when to push and know when to step back. So if, let's put this in very like specific examples that we get from our clients, is that, okay, so some people are like, oh, hey, we really want some help on social media, and I feel like we need to get more attention, so we should probably post like 3 times a day. And so that's something that I'm like, no, do not do that. You're gonna oversaturate your own newsfeed. You're gonna wash out on the algorithm, and nobody's gonna pay attention to you guys. And not only that, when I see you so much everywhere, and if like, let's say you keep on mailing me things in the mail, emailing me, you're basically spamming me, and then I become immune to your product and your brand. Like, so when I see your colors in the like corner of my eye, I already know to ignore it. You don't want to get to that point. You want to be able to understand, you know, you take one little step, and then you try something new that day, right? You're like, you know, we're going to try a new video series. If that sticks, try it again a little bit more, and shift and change to see. It's like a tug, a push and pull kind of experiment you have to make to understand what your audience likes from your brand. And that's true for every client that we've ever worked with, is that we have to figure out what works for your brand personally. What do people like about you guys? And push and pull from what you know about that. So it could be about content. What are you sharing with people? What are you providing them? And this is something that I talk more about in like social media marketing and stuff, is that like, you need to think about when you're putting things out for people, whether it's a flyer, whether it's you went to an event and you're making a speech, or you are posting something on social media, you have to make people feel things in order for your brand to stick with them, your message to stick with them. You have to make them feel either emotional, inspired, educated, or these are things that I would not recommend, but you also have to either make them feel angry or sad. Angry and sad, they work at times. Like, you know, have you seen those Thai commercials are just so sad, and you cry, and then you realize it's just an insurance commercial? It's like that. So I don't recommend using sad or mad, but hey, those things do work as well. you have to elicit emotions, and that's why I use the word emotions a lot today too, because it's essentially what branding is that emotional story and connection. Yeah. And yeah, let me know if I'm kind of like hitting time a little bit.
Hey, Nikita,
Yeah.
this is Mo from Mo's Tropical BFA. I think that we have created brand for ourselves in the community.
Uh-huh.
How can we take what you're saying and move to the next level?
Absolutely. So I love your foods. Thank you so much for your food. So yeah, so absolutely. How can we take BFAing to another level, right? I would say try to think more about like why people like you guys so much, and like what are things that you feel like is missing, especially as a home grocery store in the home grocery store realm, right? Like what more can you bring in a quality to up that game? Think about your logo, think about your colors, and think about how that translates in store, right? So even though you are well known as a name, like when I walk into your store, do I see like BFN colors? Do I see that on your tags? Do I see that in your like shopping bags? Or think Byerly's, think Cup Foods, think Sam's Club, because I feel like you're in a different place, right? For BFN than you would be if like I just opened a home today, right? You are definitely in a different place than that. You're definitely more solid in the industry here. So how can you up the level of the experience to be really professional? And I'm like, wow, this store is amazing. Like I knew it was a home grocery store, but this is different. Like, wow, this is looking like Byerly's or something. Not to say that you have to be like Byerly's, but I just want to challenge you to say like, okay, sure, you're really comfortable in knowing that everybody knows BFN. You're really comfortable knowing that people come to BFN. I would say I challenge you to not get comfortable and say like, I know our customers love us, but how do we wow them? Because we love them too, right? Because of them, we're able to stand. So how do we show our love and appreciation and like make the experience even better than what they're seeing right now?
No, I really appreciate that that feedback, Nikita, because I am thinking about that direction. I'm looking at Yi too. We have to connect, but you are right, because the perception of our I won't say Asian, but among businesses that we're not tech savvy, we're not business savvy, we're not at the professional level to really be at the trend right now. So I really take what you say to heart, because I think that's what's going to take to move to the next level and not get comfortable. I always agree with that. When you start getting comfortable, then that's when you start to go down. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and you're doing great. So I root for you guys, and I'll still be shopping there. So
thank you.
Yeah, Mo, and to add to that, it's the overall experience, right? The experience they get when they come to your store, the experience they get when they go to your website, the experience they get when they talk to your employees. That's all your branding, and it encompasses everything. And so you have to be very cognizant of that and be able to build that and teach and train and put all those together. And when you're running on all cylinders, that's when you know that you are doing well. But if you're running like a car, if you're just running, if it's a 4-cylinder car, you're only running on 2 cylinders, you're probably not going to go fast. Or if you're trying to run on 1 cylinders, the other 3 are not running. It's not efficient. So it's really taking into account all that, and all that is pretty much branding for your company. So.
Yeah, thank you, Yi. We need to connect, okay, to make that happen.
Yes, we're ready for you, Mo.
Text me your number. The last number I called, I couldn't get through.
Yeah, okay, I will.
Thanks for your email too, Yi. I saw it popped up on my screen here. We should connect too. This is Kayla. And I think part of what Mo is saying there, it's both to project a brand that says we're capable, we're professional, we can meet your needs as a person of color in business. to our own community.
Mhm.
But the next challenge, Mo, to that is if you want to serve beyond your own community, there is another level of challenge because they
Right,
see
right.
you
Exactly.
as somebody that is a person of color. You can never serve them, especially if they're in a white population, right? Whereas I think most of the people of color, and I'm generalizing, which is not good to do either in terms of DEI perceptions, but we tend to be okay with going to a Black-owned store or a Black person coming in an Asian store, but knowing still that kind of not as high quality to what Mo was saying. But a white person walking into us, I mean, we've experienced that here, is
Yeah.
they were wowed by the fact that we don't look Asian, that we have Asian things, that we don't look Asian in our store, and that we serve and work with local makers, local food producers that are across the spectrum of race and ethnicity. So we're, you know, but it does have a huge hurdle to try to climb. We're not there. Obviously, we're not at the top of the mountain, but we're climbing. We're trying to, but it is hard. It is hard.
Right. Right.
And
No,
brand
thank
has
you.
a lot to do with its perception.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback. We appreciate it. Yeah. And I think one of the things that I think that we continue to struggle is the customer service. You see what I'm saying? And we're a very customer service family, and I think that's an area that we do good. But how can we get all our staff to be on the same page, greeting everybody? And I think that's a challenge for us. So we recently the new year we're gonna have go to the next phase of BFA most tropical. But how do we bring the staff to the next level? I recently just have a mandatory required staff meeting, but we are going to have a required mandatory training every month with a big group, and then break down to their supervisor, their group, and really tackle some of those issues because the millennial, I think, require a different type of set. As you can see, Target, Walmart, they're moving in a different direction. It's not about test oriented. It is about demonstrating. It's about modeling. It's about doing with them. It's about coaching and counseling. And I tell my manager, it cannot be task anymore because task is not going to get us through. And you recently see that I think Walmart is going away from that model, and they're really looking at really show them, do it with them, and counseling and modeling. And I think we have to stay with the trend because our kids, even among kids, they're just like the regular American kids do. You know, you teach them one thing today, tomorrow it's the same thing, and they don't remember it.
Yeah. Oh, and you said it best, Mo. And I'll say that the way to do that is to know your brand, right? To know how your staff is going to interact, or they should interact with your customers, and what level of customer service are you providing? How are you providing that? Because if you yourself don't know that and don't have that written out and written down, you're not
Right.
going to be able to communicate that clearly to your staffing as well. So there's going to be a gap in between of, okay,
Right.
managers communicating this way, but staff are communicating this way. Then you're all over the board, and then it makes your company look unprofessional, and that makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. And so I think that's one way to tackle it, and I think that we can definitely work on that. To Kayla's point earlier, in terms of going outside our own community, doing businesses with folks and individuals outside of our community, outside of our BIPOC community, it's doable. It's definitely not rocket science. It's doable, but you have to be on your A game. You have to have everything, all your ducks in a row. And like half of my clients are not Hmong. Half of my clients are others that who do business with me, and we also do projects for them. And so we're able to break into that on not but because of our branding. Our brand is that, you know, we know what we're doing, we're professionals, and we can get the projects done for you just as anyone else would. And so they don't see us as a BIPOC business owner. They just see us as a business owner who can get the job done. And so if you can get your ducks in a row, and if you can provide that, portray that brand quality, that branding, the branding image of what they're looking for, then I don't think that your ethnicity or your color has anything to do with it. Because if you're the best at what you do, and they know that, and you can portray that, they're going to come to you for business. And so it's definitely doable.
Yeah, just to wrap everything around too, I think we'll brought out really amazing things that I really want everyone to take away from today is that the five brand factors we listed today, it is not limited to that. And it's not just about what's happening on the outside of your brand. It's very much exactly what she said. It's happening on the inside of your brand, because you can believe you believe something. You can say you stand for something. You can say this is how people are going to experience you. But when I come to your store, if none of your employees are on the same page, and obviously I'm never going to experience what you wanted me to experience. And it's really basically clarifying your brand, knowing what you stand for. And then not only that, something that we work our clients through at Manic too is like, how are the internal processes going in your brand? Is everything organized? Do you even have the time and mental capacity to start thinking about things like that beyond like, oh, how are transactions, like technical things, right? So those are some tech solutions that we also bring to you too, so that you understand and have the capacity to really make sure that every area you need for your business to be perceived correctly, experienced correctly, and authentically is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to shine in and get another perspective, because all of you know that I'm from education, so business is this is my first journey in doing business. So one of the things that really go back to Nikita about really what you're doing inside and then experiencing your branding. One of the things that I think we all know is that many of our Hmong grocery store or our businesses, we never have other ethnicity come. For example, we know that our grocery store, you don't have the Vietnamese, Cambodia, Thai, and other ethnicity come, but mostly Hmong. But since I came into the business, I'm gonna tell you right now, we are not where we need to be, but I can tell you that we have packed of Vietnamese, Cambodia, Thai. You come in a regular like Saturday, it's packed with all that. It makes me
Yes.
realize
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
It makes me
See,
realize
that is
yeah, it makes me realize one thing. I always wonder why they don't come, and it is because we don't have the right product. We don't have the the right experience for them. And now I start looking back, it's because maybe we haven't really focused on that. But I think number one, I think we have the right product, we have the right quality, and the customer service and the family environment. I know every one of my VIP customer, whether it's their Hmong, Vietnamese, Cambodia, come, I dress them with their name. So it makes me think, go back to what you say, Nikita, is that it is not just about opening up grocery store. It is about the experience that you give them, the quality of the product, and the sense of welcoming community and customer service. I think that's what people have been telling me, that's what it is. And I thought, wow, that's we've been thinking, and then we always have product more expensive, right? But the thing for us at BFM most probably is that our product is affordable. So you see what I'm saying? So all these things that we just talk about this, and I have a long way to go. I gotta do the thing that Nikita and Yi mentioned to scale it up. But I think if all our business can have those right ingredients, I think people will come. They're not gonna say, "Oh, well, Mo's Hmong, so I'm not gonna go to the store." They're gonna say, "Wow, she's got beautiful tropical fruit, quality, good price, and we feel a sense of family and customer service, so we're gonna go." So I just want to shine in because I know that our our Hmong community business are not where it needs to be because it lacks some of those things, and I began to think that it is because of that. It's not because we're Hmong and they don't want to come. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And that's really why I'm really happy that you guys are also able to start thinking about these things and understand that exactly that. It's not because we are a certain race or because we are POC or anything like that. It's very much like we just don't have the tools to pivot ourselves in the correct way for the kind of experience we want and the kind of customers that we want. And that's just a learning curve that we, you know, coming from a refugee background, it's just a natural thing. And I think we're all doing great, but we are obviously have room to keep growing and improve on.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you all for this amazing conversation. We are running out of time, and I do want to wrap up. And let's give a round of applause for Nikita. Thank you so much. You did a great presentation, and you spoke really well about branding. And this does pivot us to our upcoming event for our November Minnesota Hmong Chamber Commerce Connections Marketing 101. And this is presented by Manic, and they have Johnny Zhang, who will be our speaker for the Marketing 101. And upcoming events, we'll be having our membership meeting in December. We haven't had a membership a meeting at all this year. A lot has happened. I became the executive director December, and then the pandemic hit, and then it's just been really crazy and wild. So we'll be having our first membership meeting in December. So please, please, please look out for the information that will be coming out, and please register for that. You do not have to be a member to participate. So please, please, please join. If don't let that shy you away. We welcome everyone to our membership meeting. And then we'll be also announcing our business education workshops in 2021. If you are someone who is interested in educating, presenting, being a speaker on a business education workshop, please reach out to me. We would love to have you speak on that. This is going to be more of like kind of similar to our connections, but more deep dive into our presentations on anything that can really help our businesses in the area, develop in their business, either marketing, either like how to learn how to invest, or etc. If you have any experts in that field, please reach out to me. I would love to explore with you on how we can make that possible in 2021. And this is the end of our connections for October. I hope you guys had a meaningful time and connect with one another. I will send up a follow-up email so that you guys can connect with each other as well if needed, and connect with me again if you haven't yet. And please remember, if you haven't, please join our membership. We are accepting new members, so please, or renew your membership. So please do that. I would love to have you guys be part of our chamber. And again, thank you so much, and I hope to see you next month. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi.
Thank you much. See you guys.